Good morning, Ms. Moss here with another math lesson. And today I just want to go real quick right into it because the learning target we're going to be looking at today is I am learning to understand and solve story problems. We're going to get deeper and deeper into that idea of how we understand and figure out what the story problems are asking us to solve. I do want to remind you before I flip my camera over that it is okay for you to make some mistakes today while you're thinking about math. Remember, it's okay for you to make mistakes. In fact, your brain is growing when you do. All right, here we go. I got the learning target right there. It says, I am learning to understand and solve story problems. Now remember that the biggest and probably most important thing that you're going to do is read, reread, and visualize what's happening in the story so you can get ready to solve it. Now I will tell you that the writers of story problems are sometimes kind of tricky. Sometimes they give you information in the story that you don't really need. It's an extra fact, and you can read through it, and it's nice to know, but it doesn't help you to solve the problem. So the first thing is when you're visualizing it and finding the question, I want you to think, is there anything in this story that doesn't belong? Here's the first one we're going to look at together. The stories I'm showing you in this video are going to be very similar to the ones that you're going to be asked to solve on your own. So you're going to want to make sure that you're watching really closely to the problems that I model so that you can have success when you're trying it on all by yourself. Here's our first story. George is making cookies for his brothers. He has 4 brothers. He made 24 chocolate cookies, and he also made 14 oatmeal cookies. And I'm wondering, how many cookies did George make in all? Now, when I'm visualizing this story, I'm thinking that he has some chocolate cookies, and he has some oatmeal cookies, and I also know that he has 4 brothers. But I'm wondering, when I find the question, if how many brothers he has is really important, or is that just extra information? I don't think I need this fact to solve the problem, so I'm going to cross it off. Now, I do know he has some chocolate and he has some oatmeal, and the question, when I found it, is wondering how many cookies in all. So now I'm going to go back and I'm thinking, well, I know there are 24 chocolate cookies, and I also know there are 14 oatmeal cookies. What I don't know in the story is how many he has in all. So now I have to think about, what would the equation be that would help me to solve this story? Well, if I put the chocolate cookies and the oatmeal cookies together by using addition, that will give me the total number of cookies. Another thing that will be helpful when I think about my strategy is to think about our place value picture that we know how to draw. And when I look at this 2-digit number of 24, I can draw that with 2 groups of 10, 10, 20, and the 4 ones. I can draw the oatmeal cookies in a place value picture with 1 group of 10, and look at that, 4 ones. I'm noticing a double. Now that I have my place value picture, I found my question, I'm ready for the step of using a strategy to solve this problem. So I am going to now show you 2 very popular addition strategies that 2nd graders use to solve tricky problems like George and his cookies. The first one is we use a strategy in our classroom called adding by place. I'm going to rewrite that equation over here just so we have it in both places. The chocolate cookies plus the oatmeal cookies equal all of the cookies, which we don't know yet. Now to do adding by place, I'm going to start with my tens. In 24, I have 20, and in 14, I have 10. When I put my tens together, I can see I have 3 tens or 30. And now I'm going to add my ones. When I put the 4 from the 24 with the 4 from the 14, I have a double fact. I know my doubles fact, and 4 plus 4 is 8. And the last step is now I have to put my tens and my ones back together, and that leaves me with a total of 38 cookies. And that is the strategy of adding by place. Another way I can think about putting together George's 2 types of cookies is by using a tool in our classroom that we use often, and it is called the open number line. To solve this addition problem, if I use the strategy of adding on, I would keep one of the numbers that I'm adding as a whole number. I'm going to start my open number line at 24. And then I'm going to add on the 14. And I'm going to add it on in a way that makes sense. First, I'm going to add on the 10 in one giant leap. And so that would be 34. And then I know I have to add on the remaining 4 ones. And when I do that, I can use the same idea I did up here. I have 4 in the 34 plus 4 would get me to 38. And there I have now 2 strategies that explain that the total number of cookies that our friend George had made for his brothers was 38 cookies in all. This was an example of a story problem that used addition. You might also find, when you're learning to understand story problems, that sometimes the story will ask you to do an operation different than addition. Let's look at another story and see if it changes. Remember, you're also on the lookout for some extra facts. This story says Mary had 47 flowers and she gave 13 flowers to her friend. She also gave him 19 pieces of candy. How many flowers did Mary have left? And when I look at this story, I'm thinking about, what might be an extra fact? That's nice to know, but not important to solve this problem. Well, I'm rereading and I'm noticing that she gave him these 19 pieces of candy, but they don't really matter when I found the question because the question says, how many flowers did she have left? Well, I know that Mary had 47 flowers to start with, and then these are the ones she had, and she gave 13. And what I don't know because of the question is how many she had left. So now I have to think, well, when I make sense of the story, if she had some and she gave them away, I'm not going to add those numbers together. This time, I'm going to use the operation of subtraction. And just like we did with the addition strategies, now we have to think of which strategy could I use to solve this problem. And just like addition, there's a couple different you could choose from. I'm going to first draw my place value picture because that usually helps me to really understand what I'm thinking about. I can't draw 47 flowers. That would take me way too long, but I can use my place value blocks and say 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. And then I see the 13, but I'm not going to draw 13 more flowers because I know that the 13 that she gives away are going to come out of this pile of the flowers. So I'm not going to draw 13 like I did with the addition story of George's cookies. This time, instead of adding up, I'm going to be subtracting back. I'm still going to use the tool of my open number line, But instead of starting on the left, where the number was small and getting larger, this time I'm going to start on the right with my large number, because I'm going to be taking some numbers away and I'm going to be going backward, working on the number line. I'm still going to start with the total, which is 47, and then I'm going to take away the amount she gave to her friend in parts. First, I'm going to take away the 10, and that will land on 37. You can see that this had 4 tens, and then I'm going to take one of those 10s away, and I'm left with 3 10s and still have the 7 ones. But she also gave away 13. So far I've taken away the 10. I still need to take away the 3 more to make a total of 13. And when I do that in my place value picture, I could take away this one, and this one, and this one. I could also count back 36, 35, and 34. Now I know, because I showed on my number line of counting back or subtracting back, I can also see in my place value picture that when I took away the ones she gave, I am left with 30 and 4, which is a total of 34 flowers left. Now, I could also think, if it's easier for me to use addition, I can think about the relationship between these numbers. And if I started with the number that she gave away and worked up to the number that she had, I could also see that if I started with what she gave away and I was working up to what she had, my answer could also be in my jumps. First, I could do a jump of 10 to get to 23. I could also do a jump another 10 to get to 33, a jump of 10 to get to 43, and now to get from 43 to 47, I would have to jump 4 more. And there, again, with my jumps, I can see that she would have 34 flowers left. All right, my friends, remember today and every time you get to a story problem, you are learning to understand and solve it by reading, visualizing, find the question, and then use your strategy. In your work today, here's a handy dandy reminder. Here's what you're going to do. There's 5 steps that you got to do to complete your work. First, you're going to read the story. Second job, you're going to cross out the extra facts. Third job, you're going to write an equation that matches your story. Fourth job is you're going to solve that story problem using one of the equations that we just talked about in the video. And of course, last but not least, your math assignment looks like this. At the tippy top, it does say turn into Class Dojo so that your teacher can give you some feedback about it. Thank you for stretching your math muscles. Remember, if it feels hard, that just means that your brain is learning. Have a great day.